For Tank Davis, man, this is personal. This is personal for Tank in his fight against Frank Martin. He is not happy. Obviously, if you guys don't know, if you guys aren't, if you guys are new boxing fans, maybe you guys don't know, but Errol Spence Jr. and Tank Davis have had a pretty good kind of like big brother, little brother relationship. For many years, they were both very close with Adrian Broner when Adrian Broner was the man at 140. Obviously, he had his run, and ultimately, a lot of people see Adrian Broner as wasted potential, but a bond still, stuck between Tank Davis and Errol Spence Jr. You saw Errol Spence bet Ryan Garcia in his fight against Rolly when Rolly and Tank fought. Tank and Spence had that good relationship, so Errol Spence picked Tank to win the fight, and Ryan Garcia bet on Rolly to win, and obviously we know that Tank won that fight, stopped Rolly in that fight. But it's unfortunate, not unfortunate, this is the sport of boxing, but Errol Spence Jr. obviously has his own promotional company, and he signed Frank Martin. That is his biggest fighter, and it looks like Tank Davis and Frank Martin are going to be fighting. So for Tank, this is a big statement. He was actually interviewed about the potential of this fight before it was even, finalized, and he said that Errol Spence better be careful because I'm going to end up hurting his fighter, again, because they've sparred before, and Tank is kind of insinuating that he put his hands on Frank Martin in sparring. So that's different. We obviously know right now, especially with all the crazy drama going on with, the sparring footage, leaking sparring footage, this story, that story, he said, she said, when it comes to all this in the gym talk. We saw the leaked sparring of Tank and Devin Haney, but I say it was pretty blown out of proportion because I think Devin Haney actually didn't look that hurt, in my opinion. I thought that he was definitely getting handled by Tank, but he wasn't going out. Like, he wasn't quitting. He wasn't out on his feet. He didn't look dizzy. I argue that he was still more hurt in the Linares fight, but the way that people talked about it, I thought that Devin Haney would have, kind of gone out. That's what everyone was saying. Everyone said, like, he got hit, and it was like he went out for a bit. So he didn't. He was holding his own, but at the same time, he was taking a lot of punishment in there for sure. Tank was touching him up. But we know that there's another part of footage that we didn't get to see. We didn't get to see before that clip, and we didn't get to see after. And allegedly, Bill Haney and Devin Haney are claiming that they got paid because there was obviously money involved. Adrian Broner bet on Tank, and then Bill Haney was obviously betting on his son, and Bill collected money from Adrian Broner, and insinuating that Devin ultimately came back and won that version of sparring, if you could say, won a sparring session. So it is what it is. It's interesting stuff, but Tank has a lot of infamous stories of sparring within the Mayweather gym. Frank Martin obviously sparred Tank, and that seems like it's going to be the fight for both of these guys. I believe it's finalized, but at the same time, we don't have a date, we don't have a location, so I don't like to get my hopes, too high. You can't hold the cart before the horse, and I think, Errol Spence Jr. and Tank, they're going to become rivals for a little bit for this fight. It's all respect all the time, but, Errol Spence tweeted, "I'm Team Frank Martin," obviously, because that's his fighter. He signed Frank Martin. It's not personal, I think it's business, but it's going to be interesting to see kind of, Errol Spence Jr. going against a former kind of little bro kind of relationship he has with Tank, and supporting his guy Frank Martin. Do I think Frank Martin beats Tank? I don't think so. Does he possess the skills to pull it off? For sure, I think he definitely does. This is going to be Tank's hardest fight realistically, and this is an opponent where we can actually give him, I think, we can give him full credit for this fight. I just don't think that Frank has what it takes in totality to weather the storm like a lot of fighters don't, but I think he's gonna make it really competitive. It's all about the mid to late rounds where, okay, you're safe. I promise you, against Tank, if you're a solid boxer, you're safe in the first 3 rounds. As long as you're not overzealous, you're not careless, you're gonna do well, you're gonna have success. But can you turn it up and even increase your concentration when it hits the 5th, 6th round is where Tank tends to turn it up a notch, and that's where I really think that it matters. It doesn't matter what you do in the first 3 rounds. It's all about can you stop Tank from building his momentum? If he's not in the fight, if you're up 3-4 rounds on Tank, can you keep him there? Can you turn up the pace, turn it up to the point where you can't let him in back into the fight? I think that's the key, and it's easier said than done. It's like stopping a leak. You know, Tank's gonna keep banging on that door until, you know, it breaks through and he has his way. But can you cover these holes? Can you know, clog that leakage, that water from pouring out? Because that's what Tank wants. He ultimately wants to break you down and find the holes and exploit them. When he turns it up, it's very like psychological almost, the way that Tank approaches fights, because it's kind of like what Lomachenko does. They say when you're an opponent of a guy like Lomachenko or a guy like Tank, they're both slow starters, it's like, okay, I'm having success the first 3-4 rounds, but then once they start turning it up, you're like, whoa, you know, all of a sudden you get shocked, you don't know how to handle it, you get the pressure, and all of a sudden you're getting touched up, and then it gets to the late rounds, you're tired, you get anxious. So these guys are difficult opponents, and I think Tank, who's approaching 30, is definitely, you know, has his man strength, he has that knockout power. But we'll see against Frank Martin, a very credible opponent in my opinion. It's just like, if you guys, we can't get, you know, Shakur Stevenson, if we can't get Keyshawn Davis, we can't get Devin Haney, obviously Tank doesn't want to go to 40 yet, then this is the fight. You know, this is a fight for the boxing fans. This is a very credible opponent. Derek James fighter, he's going to be in camp with Ryan Garcia, so Ryan could probably show him or let him know what Tank is like in there, you know, coming from a professional standpoint. Even though Frank Martin had already sparred Tank Davis, it's different when you're under the bright lights. So, and that was years ago, and Ryan fought him recently, so maybe he could give him an idea of, you know, what he can look out for, because Frank Martin can do his thing. He's going to hold his own no matter what. It's just, you know, maybe that insight from Ryan Garcia will help. Obviously Derek James, I expect him to prepare Frank, you know, to the best of his ability, because Frank he's not the type of fighter that just like promotes. He's not the type of fighter that's just going to talk. He's going to back it up with his skills, and he works hard in the gym. I know that for a fact. So it'll be an interesting fight, Frank Martin and Tank Davis. Let me know in the comments who you guys got. I think that's honestly it's a pick-me fight, but at the same time, I think that Tank Davis's experience is gonna, you know, really carry him through that finish line, and he's gonna do what he always does. It might be a little bit harder against a guy of Frank Martin's caliber, but I ultimately think that Tank is just he's just a different breed in my opinion. I think that there are levels, and obviously Frank Martin's on a very, you know, high level. It's just Tank is just that, he's just that superstar, and when the bright lights perform, you know, he knows when to perform. You know, when the bright lights and the stage is set, he's gonna show out, and he's done that time and time again. He likes the bright lights. He looks forward to it. If you hit him, he's gonna be like, okay, but can you take my shot? And that's when it gets really interesting. But Frank Martin, Tank Davis, let me know who you guys got. I got it, you know, 60-40 in favor of Tank, maybe 65-35. But it's a great fight. It's a great fight for the sport. It's a great fight for PBC and Amazon Prime. So I'll keep you guys updated with that, Frank Martin versus Tank Davis. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
That's going to do it for another NASFight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.